Yeah.
Okay. Aleph Aleph. Concerning any liquid which one was pleased at the beginning, even though he was not pleased at the end, or if he was pleased at the end, even though he was not pleased at the beginning, it is included in the law of water is placed. Tame liquids convey tumor whether one was pleased or one was not pleased with the wedding, and that's it. There's just one.
Hmm? No,
We
why?
just do one.
No, three.
But I don't know why. I'm thinking of something else. All right. If one should allow a tree to dislodge from its food or atomic object that is not included in the law of water is placed and to dislodge its
Hold
liquid,
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Just a second. Which Mishnah did you just read a minute ago?
1-1.
Oh, that's the Chazara. That's the Chazara. Okay, never mind.
Sorry,
We're not there yet. We're supposed to be on
three.
Gimel
Six.
Gimel.
Gimel, Gimel, right? That's what I thought.
Um,
Okay. If one removes hot bread from an oven and places it in the mouth of a barrel of wine, Reb Meir rules the bread tummy. Reb Yehuda rules the bread tahor, and Reb Yossi rules the bread tahor in the case of wheat bread, but rules the bread tameh in the case of barley bread, because barley absorbs. Regarding one who sprinkles his house with water and then placed wheat there, and the wheat was moistened, it is due to the water. It is included in the law of water is placed. But if it is due to the bedrock, it is not included in the law of water is placed. And regarding one who washes his garments in a basin, and he placed wheat there, and the wheat was moistened, if it is due to the water, it is included in the water is placed. But if it is due to the kernels of wheat themselves, it is not included in the law of water is placed. Regarding one who moistens produce in sand, it is included in the law of water is placed. And there was an incident with the people of Machos who had moistened produce in sand. And when the sages said to them, "If this is what you have been doing, then when you have never in your life produced flour in Tahara." Regarding one who moistens produce in dry mud, Reb Shimon says that if it contains sufficient to moisten, it is included in the law of water as place, but if not, it is not included in the law of water as place. Regarding one who sprinkles his silo with water, he need not be concerned that perhaps he put their wheat there and it would be moistened. Regarding one who gathers blades of grass when dew is upon them, in order to moisten wheat with them, they are not included in the law of water as place. But if he intended this, it is thus included in the water of water as place. Regarding one who transports wheat to grind and rain fell on it, if he is happy, he is included in the law of water place. And Yehuda says it is possible not to be happy, rather only if he stood still.
oh,
If his
no, this is me now. Um,
Okay.
Rabbi Yehuda, so once again, just to recap, Rabbi Yehuda is invariably the person who wants action. He doesn't hold that machshava is enough to create facts. You actually have to make an action in order to create facts, and we judge things by the outcomes of the actions, not by your kavanah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a consistent shita that he holds in many different circumstances. Um, Mishnah Vav, Hayu Zaysav Nesunim Bagag. Okay, so a guy's taken his olives up to the roof to dry. Okay, V'yardu aleim geshamim, and then it rained on them.
Right.
Samach, if he's happy about it, if he's, oh, that's nice, it'll freshen up my olives. B'chiyutan, then his kavana is great. He's happy about the rain, and therefore it's b'chiyutan. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, once again, efshar shelo lismach. Everyone's happy about rain. I don't care about intentions here. Ela impakakis atzinor. If he did some action that shows that he wants the water there, for example, blocking the drain. He blocks the drain so that the water level rises and to wash the olives better. That's considered a maaseh. That's machshirin. Or if he turned over the olives so that they would get wet on both sides. That's an action that's machshir, but otherwise not. So the halacha does not follow Rabbi Yehuda. Chamarin, you got donkey drivers. Shehayu ovrim benahar. And oopsie, their produce fell into the water. If they're happy that they got wet, then it's bechiyutan. Again, Rabbi Yehuda comes and says, nope. Everyone's happy about things being wet. Yeah, it's a good thing to be happy. But if they turn them over to make sure to distribute the water more evenly, Then that's what's making it b'chiyutan. There's got to be an action involved. Hayuraglav meleos tit. Let's say the animal's legs were full of mud. V'chein ragle behemto. Or if the person's legs were full of mud, or if his animal's legs were full of mud. Avar benahar, and now they walk through the river. Im samach b'chiyutan. And if you're happy about the fact that the mud's getting washed off, that's called b'chiyutan. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, efshar shelo lismach. What are you talking about? Everyone's happy about taking a nice swim. Ela im amad v'hidiach. If he stood there and rinsed, if he if he made a point of standing in the water and washing off the mud, yeah, that's b'chiyutan. But if he's just walking through, we don't care, and that's not b'chiyutan according to Rabbi Yehuda. But Adam of behemoth tamei le'olam tamei. However, Rabbi Yehuda nonetheless concedes that when it comes to a person or a behemoth tamei, like a donkey or a horse, then it's always tamei, because that's always a benefit to him. What's Rabbi Yehuda? It's difficult to understand what exactly is the distinction between a behemoth tamei and a behemoth tahara. Only thing really is whether you can eat them or not. And some speculate that Rabbi Yehuda is holding here that a behemoth tahara is intended for eating, and therefore, what does he care if its feet get dirty or not? Whereas a behemoth tamei, the only thing it's good for is working. And if it's if it's a work animal, then he wants it to be clean, as going through the threshing floor or something like that. Then then he wants it to be clean. But it still is left as a tzarech iyun in my commentary. Mishna v'ches. Hamored es hagalgalim ve'es klei bakar b'shas hakadim l'mayim. Okay, so if he takes off the wheels of his wagon, or the kalim, the yoke and the plow, at the time that he takes the animals to when there's an east wind and it's hot. Okay, and the derech kle'etz she'yizbakim, and this is where you want to protect the kalim from getting wind blasted. I mean, we live in Israel. We know what it's like when that east wind blows, the hot desert wind, and it makes all of your nice wooden garden furniture start to crack and everything. So this is the sort of circumstance we're talking about. So now. He takes these things off when the animals go down to the water. So if it's so that let me just get my commentary open here again, because this is right. If it's to tighten them, if it's to strengthen them, then this is called b'chiyutan. Okay. The Hamorid behema lishtos. If he takes his animal down to drink, hamayim ha'olim b'piha. If the water that comes up on the animal's mouth is always b'chiyutan, because that's exactly what he took them to the water for, is so that they should drink. And when animals drink, they get wet. So that water is definitely l'ratzon. No question about it. So if that water then drips onto some produce, that produce is b'chiyutan. V'ragleha enan b'chiyutan. But if it gets onto their legs while they're drinking, that's not, and that drips onto produce, that's not called b'chiyutan, because what does he care if the animal's legs get wet? Im chishav shiyadocha ragleha. However, if he did it in order to have them rinse their feet, for example, if he wanted them to go and to thresh some grain, so he wanted their feet to be clean, Afa olin b'ragleha b'chiyutan. Then also what comes on its legs is b'chiyutan. B'shas hayachaf v'hadayish le'olam tamei. And in the time at the time of the threshing floor, or if it's yachef is foot soreness, if the animal is tired from having walked, then that's also considered automatically b'chiyutan, because he wants the animal to get some relief from the cold water. Porid cheresh shote v'katan. Now, what happens if the person in charge of the animals is a cheresh, a shote, or a katan? And this is again people who don't have das. Even though they intended that the animal should wash its feet, Eino b'chiyutan. This does not qualify as b'chiyutan. Sheyesh lahen masiv, ein lahen machshava. Because the Cheirashot of a katan we always have this rule that they cannot achieve anything that requires das. So if you need das to make them b'chiyutan, that won't work. If they actually went and rinsed the animal's feet, that would be b'chiyutan because they've got maseh. So it's interesting. It's an interesting thing that according to Chachamim, the Cheirashot of a katan are kind of the same din as everyone according to Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda says, I don't care about your machshava. I want to see your maseh. And Chacham is saying, no, that's just the chereshot of a katan because they don't have maseh. They don't have machshava. And we also saw the machshava and not maseh when it came to kalim. If you recall, when if a pekech sees a stump of a tree and says, oh, that's a nice chair, boom. If it's a stump of wood, a stump of wood mistame is tahor, but as soon as he designates it as a seat, now it's tameh. Okay, but for chereshot of a katan, they'd actually have to come and smooth it off or make some sort of action to turn it into a seat. Okay.
Right.
Right, let's go and finish off Nida.
Okay. 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 Yud Zion. But they agree that she may eat Maisa Sheni and that she may break off a portion of dough as challah and place it in proximity to the remainder of the dough and designate it as challah, and that if some of her saliva or tahor blood fell on a loaf of truma, it's tahor. And Shammai says she requires immersion in a mikveh at the conclusion of her days of tahor blood, but Ms. Hillel says she does not require immersion at the conclusion of her days of tahor blood. Regarding a woman who discharged uterine blood on the 11th day of her Ziva days, she immersed that night and had relations with her husband. Beit Shammai says they rendered tummy the couch and the seat on which they rest, and they're obligated to bring an offering. Beis Hillel says they are exempt from bringing an offering. If they immersed on the following day and then had relations with her husband, and afterwards she discharged uterine blood, Beit Shammai says they rendered tummy the couch and the seat on which they rest, but they are exempt from bringing an offering. Beis Hillel says this husband is an intemperate one. And they agree in the case of a woman who discharged blood in the middle of the 11 days of Ziva and immersed that night and had relations with her husband. And they render tummy the couch and seat on which they rest, and they are liable to bring an offering if she immersed on the following day and relations with her husband. This is bad behavior. And what they touch and the ability of an offering for their alcohol habitation is pending. Okay.
Nida, and one Mishnah from the beginning of Machshirin.
Well, concerning any liquid with what was placed at the beginning, even though it was not pleased at the end, if he was pleased at the end, even though he was not pleased at the beginning, it is included in the law of the water is placed. And tummy liquids convey tumor whether the one was pleased or not pleased with the wedding. Okay. And mikvos. Okay. The following items do not intervene in tangled hair of the head, the armpit, or the man's private parts. But Elias says both men and women are the same in that anything that which one finds disturbing does not intervene, and anything which one does not find disturbing does not intervene. Rheum in the eye and encrusted on a wound, wet sap, smears of wet dirt on one's body, dirt under the nail, a dangling nail, child's downy hair, neither admits truma nor transmits truma. However, if a skin on a wound admits truma and transmits truma. The following cases are an intervention against utensils, regarding utensils, pitch or musk, or glassware, whether on the inside or on the outside. When found on a table, on a tray, on a cot, they are otherwise clean. If it does not intervene, they are not otherwise soiled. It does not intervene. On the beds of a householder, it does intervene, but those on a poor person, it does not intervene. On the paddle sack of a householder, it does intervene, but on the water skin carriers, it does not intervene. On a saddlecloth, it does intervene, but Rabbi Shimon Gamil says only at the end, only if the soil is at least the size of an Italian Issa.
Yeah.
When
That's
found
it.
on
That's yeah. Negaim.
Okay. Yud Gimel Beit. Cornerstone which the owner is required to remove must be completely removed, but when he was required to demolish it, he demolishes its side and leaves his neighbor's side. This results in the stringency and the removal of the stones or the demolition of the house. Elazar says, a house built with a main support and small materials where the negger appears on the main support, the owner is required to remove all of it, whether it appears on the smaller materials or he removes his side and leaves his neighbors inside. If a house on which a negger appeared has an upper story, the beams are considered part of the upper story. Oops, sorry. And if the negger appears on the upper story, the beams are completed part of the lower story. If there's no upper story, the house stones, wood, and clay are demolished with it, but not the roof tiles, literally the rectangles and the lattices of the windows. The Yehuda says the frame built on top of the lower story is demolished with its stone, Its stone, wood, clay renders tamei as long as they have the size of an olive. Reb Eliezer of Kisma says, as small as they are. A confined house makes a person tamei from within, and a confirmed house makes a tamei from within and without. And both make tamei upon entering.
Okay. Then Arachin.
Okay, Daled Gimel. But with sacrificial offerings, it is not so. Even if his father died and left him 1,000 zuz, or a ship was at sea and they came with tens of thousands, the temple treasury has no claim on it. The age category depends upon the subject of the vow. How so? A young man who vowed the arak of an old man gives the arak of an old man, and the arak who vowed the arak of a young man gives the arak of a young man. The arakan depends on the subject of the arak. Also, a man who vowed the arak of a woman gives the arak of a woman, and a woman who vowed the arak of a man gives the arak of a man. The arak depends upon the time of the arak, and how so? If he vowed someone's arak when he was less than 5 years of age, and then he became older than 5 or less than 20 years of age, and he then became older than 20, he gives according to the time of the arak. The 30th day is judged as below this age. In the 5th year and the 20th year are judged as below the age, as it is said, and from 60 years of age and up. If a male, we derive all of these from the 60th year, just as the 60th year is judged as below this age, so too the 5th year and the 20th year are judged as below this age. Is this indeed of is this indeed of the of? Let me read that wrong, right? Is this indeed so? If scripture made the 60th year below it and be stringent, we shall then make the 5th year and the 20th year below it to be lenient. To teach us this, it is said years for Gezerah Sheva, just as the years mentioned in regard to the 60th year are judged below it, so too the years mentioned in regard to the 5th year and the 20th year are judged as below it. Whether to be lenient or be stringent, but Elazar says until it is over the years by 1 month and a day. Okay. One more. If he says, I take upon myself to give my weight, he gives his weight. If he specified silver, he was required to give silver. If he specified gold, he was required to give gold. There was an incident concerning the mother Yamiata, who said, I take upon myself to give my daughter's weight, and she went out to Yerushalayim, and they weighed her, and she gave her the weight in gold. Yossi said, now it is possible to determine precisely flesh against flesh and bone against bones. Rather, we estimated how much the arm is likely to weigh.
Okay.
We have Gittin. The essence of a get is you are permitted to every man. Yehuda says, and this which I shall.
No. We're at Tes.
Sorry?
Tes Vav. We've got 2 gets in here.
That's wrong. Okay. Why was I there? If a case of 2 Gittin whose sex are alongside each other and 2 Hebrew witnesses extend from beneath this one to beneath that one, and 2 Greek witnesses extend from beneath this one to beneath this one, and that which was the first witnesses are read as valid. If one Hebrew witness and one Greek witness, one Hebrew witness and one Greek witness extends from beneath this one to intent beneath this one, they are both void. If one left over part of the get and wrote it on a second column, and the witness saw it at the bottom, it is valid. But if the witness is signed at the top of the page, on the side or the back of the open get, it is void. If on the top of this one was attached to the top of this one, and the witnesses are in between, they are both void. If the end of this one was attached to the end of this one, and witnesses are in between, that which with the witnesses are read is valid. If the top of this one was attached to the bottom of this one, and the witnesses are in between, that which with which the witnesses are at its end and valid. A get whose writing is in Hebrew and his witnesses are in Greek and his witnesses in Hebrew, one witness in Hebrew, one witness in Greek, but one which has the writing of the scribe and the witness is valid. A signature would read so-and-so witness is valid. One would read the son of so-and-so witness is valid. If he wrote so-and-so, the son of so-and-so, and he did not write witness, it is valid. And this is what the pure-minded of Jerusalem used to do. If he wrote his surname or her surname, it is valid. A get drawn up under coercion, if by a Jew, it is valid. By a Gentile, it is void. But they beat him through the Gentiles who say, "Do as the Jews say to you," and it is valid.
Okay.
We're
Tomorrow we finish and move on to Kiddushin.
on to Kedushin. Okay.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's see if we can finish Shabbos in time. I want to tell you something funny.
Okay. Dalit. One who had two infants, one to circumcise at the Shabbos and one to circumcise on the Sabbath, and he forgot and circumcised the one who was to be circumcised at the Sabbath on the Sabbath. He's liable if he had one to circumcise before Sabbath and one to circumcise on the Sabbath. And he forgot and circumcised the one who was to circumcise before the Sabbath on the Sabbath. Reb Eliezer declares him liable for a sin offering, but Reb Yeshua exempts him. An infant may be circumcised either on the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th day, but not early and not later. How is this? In the normal course that he's circumcised on the 8th. If he was born at twilight, he's circumcised on the 9th. If he was born at twilight with the eve of the Sabbath, he is circumcised on the 10th. If the festival falls after the Sabbath, he's circumcised on the 11th. In the case of two festival days of Rosh Hashanah, he's circumcised on the 12th. A sick infant we may not circumcise until he recovers. These are the shreds that are valid the circumcision flesh that covers the lower part of the corona, and may not eat of truma. And if it was fleshy, he must rectify it for appearance's sake. If he circumcised but did not expose the circumcision, it is as if he did not circumcise.
Okay. That can. So let me stop the recording.